Hey guys, my name's Kian Hushman, and today we're going to be checking out the MLSoundLab Amped Ark. Let's have a look. Quick little disclaimer, I am on the beta testing team for all MLSoundLab plugins, but I am not being paid to say anything that I'm about to say to you right now. So right up after the Amped Roots release, MLSoundLab wasted no time in releasing another plugin for you guys, the Amped Ark, and to be honest, it's probably my favorite between the two. As always, if you guys like this video at any time, please feel free to leave a like and a comment on anything you see or hear, because it really does help the channel out. And if you want to see more of these plugin demo type of videos, definitely subscribe, because these are the videos that I enjoy making the most. So let's just see what this plugin sounds like in the mix. If you guys want the guitar DIs, bass DIs, unprocessed drums, tabs, and audio stems from this song, as well as all my original content, definitely check out the Patreon. Enough of that, let's just get straight into the demo song. Now we're back, it's a new day, I have a new set of clothes on, and that's because the first time that I tried to record this, the file corrupted, and now we're back a couple days later with all my uni stuff out the way, getting ready to do this for a second time. So if you've used the Amped Roots from MLSoundLab, you notice that it's pretty much the exact same layout. You get your amps here, your presets here, then your pedal board, except this time it comes with a delay pedal, which is really nice. You can probably see on the right hand side here that I am using GGD Studio Capzilla, and I have disengaged the cap section on the amp, and that's so I can use GGD Zilla. I get a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Versatility in my cabinet tones and stuff like that. So right now I'm just using the djenty preset, but as you can tell, works really well together. Just to give a comparison between that and the cab that comes included, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the cab that comes included. I just wanted a little bit more versatility. So as opposed to the MLSoundLab offering of Amped Roots, where you get 4 distinct amps that are replicated, this one it's like one, but you get 4 different flavors. So you get the blue amp and then the camo amp, and each amp has a clean and lead channel. Personally, in my experience, I like the camo for high gain tones because I feel like the low end response is a little bit tighter, but I do like the blues for clean. Now, I'll just do a quick comparison between what I would do as like a high gain modern metal tone with the camo, and then do the exact same thing that I dialed in for the blue amp, just so you guys can hear the difference between the two. So as you can see, I've got my presets, I've got camo gent and blue gent. So I'll just play something through camo gent first, with GGD Studio Capzilla loaded, and then I'll switch to the blue gent preset, where it's going to have the same cab, just a different amp, so you guys can hear the difference. So going through all the settings really quickly, so as you can see here, there's an input control, effects control. So what this basically does is every time this is flicked off, even though the pedals are engaged here, nothing's actually on until you flick it on the effect switch. And then you got gain, obviously, bass, mids, treble, depth, which kind of controls your lower end response in a sense as well, presence, and then master knob, as well as a little bright switch up there, cabinet section, and an IR loader where you can pick the IRs that you want to load, and then you get your output as well. Theoretically, I could export this IR from GGD Studio Capzilla and load it up in here just by clicking this little IR button. As you can see right now, it's defaulting to the Mega Gent pack from MLSoundLab that I actually do like a lot. But say for instance, like I could just load any one of these in. Let's see, I could load in Mixed Gent and turn off the GGD Studio Capzilla, and it'll sound like this. or I could turn it off and just go back to the GGD Studio Capzilla. The only reason that I have it loaded up separately is because when I was demoing the tones myself, I just wanted to like flick through the presets and make my own on the fly instead of having to export it every single time. But once you get IR that you're really happy with, or if you already have an IR that you're super happy with and use all the time, you can just load it into the Amped Ark, no problem. So what I'll do now is that I'll go through all the settings that I've dialed in for this camo lead djent tone, and then I'll just go through a couple presets that I really enjoy. So input I haven't touched, I've kept it dead in the middle. Effects is obviously turned on. Now on the pedal board we have the noise gate on just to cut out some of that noise obviously, and then we got the drive on. So drive all the way off, tone all the way up, level all the way up. That's the way I like it. You can adjust the tone knob to your liking. Okay, gain I've pushed up to about 6. I just felt like this amp needed a little bit more like fatness in the gain. I don't really dial it in that high, but to my ears anyway, I liked it right around there. Bass knob I've kept in the middle. I don't really play with the bass knob too much in any kind of amp set that I'm going through because I feel like it's at always the right spot. Mids I've pushed up just a tiny bit, just above 5. Treble I've pushed up quite considerably up to around like 7, 7.5 just to bring out a little bit more high end in the tone. And now depth is a cool knob because when I have depth all the way up, you get some like really excessive low end going on, and that can be really good for certain tones, but for like a proggy like modern metal type of tone, you kind of want to turn the depth down a bit so you get a little bit more articulation in your playing. Or maybe for like a chorus section where I wanted big chords, I push it up just a little bit. Just to fill up the space a little bit. Presence I've dialed up just a little bit just to bring out a little bit more high end and life out of the guitars, as well as turning the bright switch on, that always does that as well. And master I have turned down to get rid of some of that power amp saturation. As I mentioned before, cab section is off because I'm using GGD Studio Capzilla, and then output I haven't touched either. So all in all, as you can tell, it's extremely easy to dial in a tone with this. And that at the end of the day is pretty much the whole purpose of these amped liner plugins, whether it's the Roots or the Arc. Basically, MLSoundLab is trying to achieve a plugin where you just load it up, dial in a couple settings, takes 10 seconds, and then you just start playing and it will sound good no matter what. And that's pretty much what you get out of this plugin. As well as having an amazing array of presets that you can choose from, it's so easy to dial one in yourself. If you know nothing about IRs and cabinet emulation and stuff like that, it's even better because then you can just leave this on. The cab sounds good anyway. Don't worry about GGD Studio Capzilla, and you can just play to your heart's content. However, it doesn't limit anyone that knows what they're doing with IRs, so you could flick it off or you could load your own, really anything you want. Funny story about the plugin, when Miko from MLSoundLab first sent this out to all the beta testing guys, this was the first thing I heard when I installed it. And I was like, oh my god, it's a clean amp. And then I clicked in here and I found out there was heaps more, but it really shocked me on how good the cleans actually sounded. One that I really liked was the Djent Ambience preset, as it sounds. You can get really, really sinister, or you can kind of get happy. Moving on to the blue lead. Now, I really like this for the lead stuff because it has that fatter sound. The blue amp has that fatter sound, so with leads, it's actually really, really nice. And then of course you got Mark settings, which is like Mark Tremonti, big advocate of PRS guitars and amps. So it makes sense that he'd have a preset on here. And basically it's just like a really low end emphasized tone that's really chunky and really suited to his type of music. Notice how I've turned off GGD Studio Capzilla and now we're just running with the proprietary IR that comes in the plugin. So all these presets are basically as you'd expect it when you load it up. So now moving on to the Camo Clean amp, one preset that I really enjoy from this is Hairy Clean, because adding just a little bit of grit to the clean tone really helps in actually bringing it to life in the mix as well, making it cut in the mix. So having it in a preset is just nice, just easy to click and play. depending on how hard you pick, it will come through. As you can tell, it's not super duper clean, but it's just clean enough. And then you have dotted delay, which is pretty much what it says it is. It's a dotted delay. You can get some really nice patterns going with that. Open chords is one I really enjoy as well, because as you can tell, I like to play a lot of open chords. Now, a couple presets that I really enjoy from the Camo lead amp is both the lead delay and the KG Solo Man 5000, and they're both lead patches, but the difference is that the KG Solo Man has a little bit more of a fatter sound to it. Kind of sounds really warm and squishy, which is really nice when you're soloing. But just to give a little comparison between the two, I play a lick with the lead delay, and then I play the same lick with the KG Solo Man 5000. As you can tell, it's like slightly more scooped and has a little bit more of a fatter sound to it. Of course, crabcore for that like typical 2008 metalcore type sound. This plugin also does not discriminate against classic rock tones, so you'll see that when I got the retro rock preset on the Camo lead amp, the gain goes down quite considerably, but the treble goes all the way up just to get that really brittle type of like AC/DC sound, if that makes sense. That's what I like to use. And then the pedal board has like a tiny little bit of reverb, so it's like you're jamming with your mates in a shed or something to some AC/DC. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So as you can tell on the surface, it might not look like there's a lot going on in this plugin, but trust me, there is, because between all these different amps and all these different presets that you can tweak ever so slightly for yourself, as well as the pedal board where you can create pretty much any type of tone you want with a noise gate, a drive, and a delay and reverb for like the dreamy kind of tones, you can pretty much just go wild with this plugin, add your own IRs with a click of a button. It's just super intuitive and really easy to use, which I know is something that the guys from MLSoundLab really tried to get with this amped line of plugins, like really plug and play, no thinking, just load it up, play it, and that's it. And they've just exceeded that expectation by a mile. As always, if you guys like this video at any time, please feel free to leave a like and a comment on anything you saw or heard. If you want to see more of this stuff, definitely subscribe, because I love doing plugin demos like these. These are my favorite types of videos to make. Again, if you want the tabs, the stems, the DIs, and all that good stuff for the beginning song, as well as all the other original content in other videos and stuff, definitely check out the Patreon, because it really helps the channel out and you do get some added benefits yourself. But until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao.